Hey guys, it's Josh, and in this session, I'm going to show you around the Prezi website, and I'm super excited to do this because I use Prezi all the time when I was teaching, and Prezi just released an update, and they've created something called Prezi Next, which really is pretty sweet. And I could see that my students who use Prezi to create projects and to submit for grading are going to really enjoy the benefits of using Prezi Next, and so will you. So we're going to start by just showing you uh, my library of presentations from the classic Prezi version. So I've got a couple pages, and you can see right away, I made Prezis to do different things. Like on the first day of class, I would have students complete a note card so that I could get some information about them done easily by them by hand, and that way I could locate them in the building or have a contact number of someone I could contact for them. Of course, on the back, I had some questions that helped me assess their understanding of science as well and their goals for the school year. And so that was one thing I did. Of course, I had a presentation just to introduce myself to them as their new teacher. And I've also had content related ones. So I'll open up this one on temperature that correlates with a lab activity that I had my students do on temperature. And so this is just like a slideshow that is programmed to go to different Zooms at different points in time to show the different slides. So, just kind of first is an explanation here on temperature and the molecular motion of molecules and conversation on kinetic energy. And then the temperature scales, the differences between them. And this was kind of an application of calculating those different temperatures using the formulas. And then the actual lab activity itself would come later on. And so I'd give the students a background on the chemical reaction behind the activation of the fluorescent dye that is in a glow stick. And then I would have them devise their own experiment. And so I wanted them to answer this question: how does temperature affect reaction rate? And so they would come up with a procedure. And what they would do is they would put them in different beakers with water, and then some of them would want to heat the glow sticks. Other ones would want cold water, and some of them would want room temperature water. And they would submerge their glow sticks in these different temperature water samples and just kind of observe how the glow stick would respond to the temperature. And so they had to decide in their procedure how they were going to break the glow sticks, when they were going to submerge them, and then also decide what they were going to measure to kind of come up with their conclusion. So some of them decided that they could come up with a qualitative observation. Some of them decided that if they cracked the glow stick at a certain point when this glass vial would break, they could watch when the dye would move up the glow stick and measure how far it moved from its original spot and get a quantitative observation. And then, of course, I would follow up with some of these discussion questions that I would use for grading as well. So that's just one example of my presentation. You'll notice how simple it was. And that's why I wanted to show this to you, because it's very easy to, when you start creating your own Prezi presentations, especially even in the classic version and the next version, whenever you create them, it's very easy to try to make them too complicated. And so what you want to do is go for simplicity, really. So keep in mind that your goal here is not to really make a mural. Your goal is to make separate slides, as if you were making a typical slideshow, right? And then you would just frame your slideshow within this picture so that it turns into the mural you were wanting. So this is one that I did on the sun and sunspots. So notice here I've got one particular frame, and then I've got another frame, and I've just programmed it to go to that next frame. And so it looks like it's visually moving around this image. It makes it rather engaging. Of course, you can also put videos in. So we could click these and watch different videos. got this one on surface area and volume that I would use for instruction. So you'll see here that this is the title slide frame. And then just within the frame itself, I put another frame. And so it'll zoom into this frame and make a whole new slide. And so we learn about the difference between surface area and volume here. And then we talk about different shapes and how those shapes will have different surface areas and volumes. And how you would get the volume of an irregularly shaped object was another talking point in this lecture. So again, the trick is just to know how to go from slide to slide. And so people can get confused about, making these. They like how they zoom in and maybe they don't make them the way that they vision, kind of like a holistic type of Prezi like this. And so just wanted to give you some examples of what I've created before we move into our conversation about accounts. And so for Prezi Classic, you can go pro and get some of these benefits. And so also just a really quick note here, if you can go to educational plans if you're a student or teacher, and you get a huge price reduction. And so there's a free EduJoy plan where you can get certain control privacies control the privacy settings. You can access it on any device. You get, with the pro version, you get support options, premium support options. You get editing tools for images. You can work offline on your presentations. And if you want to get training on Prezi, you could, move up to the EduTeams version, and you get unlimited storage with those paid for versions. And then the Enjoy version, you get 4 GB of storage for your presentations. Okay, now let's take a look at Prezi next. So once you log in and have your free basic plan created, your account, it's very simple to switch to Prezi Next by using this drop-down arrow and then clicking Prezi Next. So it's the black colored Prezi, whereas the Classic was the blue color. And I like how slick that looks. And so it does look different, mainly because I don't have any Next Prezi versions created, but there's also more features in Prezi Next that was never available in the Classic Prezi. And so let's say we want to unlock some more features. Let's take a look at the Prezi Next version. So you can start a 7-day free trial currently, and then it's $3 per month for the premium versions or pro versions of Prezi Next. And so you can export your presentations to PDF and print them out and use them as a visual aid. You can convert existing PowerPoints into Prezi presentations with ease. You can add premium images and icons from the library. You can download a copy of your presentation and share it without accessing the internet. You can get a desktop application, so if you don't have internet access and you want to have all your projects offline and be able to work offline, that's there. You can get additional advanced presenter tools so that you could, have another device that has your presentation notes, a timer, and cues that you can program to help you stay on track when you're doing your presentations. Privacy control on your presentations, and you can upload media files without having to worry about, something on the internet buffering while you're trying to have a presentation, which has happened to me many times while I'm in the middle of a lesson. You can also create charts and visualize data, which is a really, good purpose for any presentation. But Prezi Next is so engaging, and it helps students engage with the content. That's one reason why I love using it. So I also want to take a quick look here at after you get your 7-day free trial. Even for the Classic version, you can go to Students and Educators, and then you get a basic plan for Classic. And so that's where you can create, share, and store the presentations like I showed you for my Classic version earlier. And then you can also upgrade to Edu Plus for $3 a month, where you can import your existing PowerPoint slides, access to those images and icons, PDF export, and offline access. And then you can also do an Edu Teams version for your school. If you want to collaborate, this will open up some collaboration tools for you. And so if you scroll down just a little bit further, you'll see that you can get Prezi Video and Prezi Design, which are Prezi Next, not Prezi Classic, that are in the free version. You can use and create them, but the big thing is your storage space is going to be different, right? And so, and then you get some more privacy controls with the paid for versions. You get premium images for the paid for version. You can edit some images. You can increase your slide making abilities with these story blocks. So when I showed you earlier, those frames, those are story blocks that you build into to create your slideshow. And I'll show you an example in a bit. PowerPoint Converter, again, is a paid thing, as well as many of these other things I've been talking about. So you can check this out and really evaluate if it's something that you want to use for the classroom. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the newer features too that I'm talking about in Prezi Next. And so you'll notice right away, just beneath the Prezi Next icon, you have a tab for videos, a tab for designs, and a tab for library, which are all new. And then presentations is just like your classic personal library, but from all the things you've created in Prezi Next. So I had to have to import my classic Prezis over for them to show up here. But here are the new features. Let's start with videos. And so you can explore video gallery here, which is essentially what the library is as well. You can scroll down and check out recommended presentations based on your interests. And then you can also see the presentations that have been identified as being allowed to be reused, which is part of that privacy control that you'd be purchasing in the Pro version. So let's watch What to Study. This one is the one that I wanted to check out. This was created by Zach Wilson.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is a short clip to let you know what you need to be studying for your quiz on Thursday and Friday about European explorers. Let's get started. First thing you need to understand is that there were 4 European nations that were fully invested in the age of exploration. Those 4 nations were England, France, Spain, and Portugal. You need to be able to locate those 4 countries on a map. You're also going to want to know what motivated these 3 nations. There were 3 big motivators for each country. We can classify these as the 3 Gs. The first G being God. These guys were interested in spreading their religion. In this case, it was Christianity. The second G would be gold. They were very interested in becoming wealthy and rich. And the third G would be glory. This fierce competition between these European nations is an old rivalry, and they wanted to be the first and the best to do the exploration of this new part of the world. They also need to know that there were 4 main obstacles. Even though there were a lot of big obstacles that these countries had to overcome in order to get here, there were 4 big ones that really affected all of them. The first one was the lack of good maps and navigational tools. They were very limited in the technology that was available to them at the time. The second thing being that there was a lot of disease and people struggled with starvation, lack of food and water while making their voyages. And even when they got here, they struggled with this. Number 3, the fear of the unknown. A lot of these guys did not know where they were going. They didn't know how long it was going to take them to get.
I'll apologize for stopping this too suddenly, but you can see how wonderful that is, especially if you're doing instruction from home. How this would be a great way to put yourself in front of your students and also present your material at the same time. And so that's done by creating a video here in the video creating a new video or doing video conferencing. And so let me just demonstrate that quickly. So you'll have to log into your account in order to do this. And then once you've already logged in, it will give you the option. So maybe I want to import a Prezi or import an existing PowerPoint. or just start from scratch. And so I'm going to import a PowerPoint that I've created on PH. And so it's going to upload that in the background. And maybe because I am currently connected with you guys on Zoom, it's not going to let me show my video here. But you could start by clicking video conferencing and then go to Zoom. And so you'll see here how you can set this up. And so I'm going to go to my option down here with the stop video feed in Zoom. I'm going to change this to Prezi Video Virtual Classroom. And then just like Zach did in his presentation, the slideshow would move through the video while he was, having class virtually on Zoom. And so I'm going to actually pass this up because you can see that it's going to take some time to download that presentation. I'm going to switch back to Prezi next. Click back, it went back to Classic. Okay, so more things in videos that you can do. Might be able to do this. So if I want to pre-record a video, you could add content. It's going to ask me instantly what presentation I want to put in. And then the neat thing is you could change the template for how you want it to show up in the video. And so because I'm connected to Zoom while I'm trying to show this to you, it's not going to show me the feature that I want. But originally I would be pictured here as if I were on the Zoom call like you saw Zach. And then my PowerPoint slides are going to pop up here. And so as this finishes importing, it's going to pop all my slides up here in order, and I can move them around like a traditional slideshow maker. You can also add your own content to these. So if maybe I want to add text like, this is the first day of class, expectations. I could put in an image if I have an image. Okay. And then I can also import my PowerPoint, which it's currently doing, so that wouldn't really do any good. You can search for icons in the library that's available to you. So maybe I want a science one. If I can find one. And then I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. Not sure those images are what I was looking for. Okay, so here I've got an image of the atom I can put in. I can add more information. And then if I wanted, if this is my first slide, again, remember, I'm going to be presenting here. My video is going to be showing here. And then I can go to slide number 2 and I can do the same thing. I can put in another image or your own. You can do this over top of your own PowerPoint slides. Oh, great, it finished. So I'll click import all. It's thinking. Anyways, while that's doing that, I'll come back and show you once it's finished. Okay, and then something else that is available in the videos portion of Prezi Next is Advanced Create. And so they have training sessions and articles to help you make presentations even better as you get into enjoying the benefits of creating Prezis. So check those out as well. Okay, so the next tab down would be Designs. And this is where I feel like I'm going to assign particular assignments for students, like go into your Prezi Next account, or yeah, sure, you can use Prezi Next to make an infographic or a poster, since that's what this assignment is all about. Okay, and so before I do that, you can see now that my slideshow has loaded into this. And so this is kind of what it's going to look like while I'm having class virtually. I can click next, and it'll take me to the next slideshow. And it's not going to let me change these options because I'm using my camera to record, but this would be like you alongside your presentation, or just you and then just your presentation. Okay, so designs. So yeah, what I really like here is students get templates to make an infographic. If you got a particular project you're doing in class and you want students to make an infographic on the content, there is an abundance of templates for them to use. I'm still scrolling. There's also the reports. You can have slides. So if they're going to make just a traditional slideshow. Dashboards. I really like this report, Q1 report here. These look really nice. Charts. Maps, which are really nice to have. That's a hard thing for students to get access to if they're doing some type of geography or project where geography is involved. Posters. And I didn't show you in my classics, but the reason why I love Prezi Next so much is because if we go back to my classic, you'll see that I was already creating example projects like this in Prezi for students. And so if I go to my second page, you'll see that I've had this example here where I had students making posters about elements. So they had an element poster contest. So this was done using Prezi Classic, and something that your students would be interested probably in doing in Prezi Next with many different templates that already exist. There's also a social media post template. So that's kind of neat. And then email headers are other templates. YouTube thumbnails. So if you're making a YouTube video and you need like a title page, or you need some type of thumbnail in your video, you could do that and record yourself within the presentation, which is really a step up. I'm super glad that Prezi has made this addition. And then you can just make your own custom size template if you want to start from complete scratch. That's an opportunity as well. Okay, so infographics, posters, social media posts, reports. When you click these, they're all going to take you to that same page that I was just on, where those templates were. And so you can start from one of those templates, or you can do your own template here. Or if you want to see other people's design examples, you can do that. So there was one in here that I really liked. Don't see a search window, so I'm just going to have to scroll a little bit, and then maybe I'll find it. Just to give you an example too of all the other designs that people have made. And so here it is. Here's the one that I thought was kind of neat. And so this is Japan, the fourth space power. It's just a nice little design that shows active satellites. And so the United States has 1,974 active satellites. The USSR has 1,524 satellites, China with 392, and Japan up to 182. It's kind of a neat little product the students could create, a little infographic. Okay, and so I mentioned the library already earlier, but don't forget you can find a whole bunch of things people have already created in the library. So here you can see story blocks, different ways that you can, present your slides or frames, as I mentioned earlier. Here they're calling them story blocks. Okay, presentations. If I go to presentations, like I don't want to do a video version, I just want my PowerPoint to be turned into a Prezi. I'm going to want to do that in presentations. And so I'll upload the file of my what is PH presentation. That's going to take some time to upload. So what I'll do in the meantime is show you something also that you could do, and that's just starting from scratch, right? So if you don't want to use one of the templates like this getting started one, or what's available in the template, similar to what I showed you in my classic library, those were many template driven presentations. But maybe I just want to start with a completely blank one. Okay, and so something that I like to do was create graphic organizers, and so you could actually have your students use this as a graphic organizer. So maybe I'm going to maybe it's a physics graphic organizer. I'm going to share this with anybody on the web, because I'm pretty sure that I have to upgrade to use the other features for privacy. Okay, so that's thinking. Let's check back on the upload of it's still uploading. Over a minute remaining. Okay. This is still thinking. We have too many things going on at once here. Okay. Okay, great. So this is finished. We'll start with this first. So you get your slide like sequence down the left side, and so you'll see that it starts with the overview. This is like the title slide, and then this little pathway zooms you into the already existing framework, right? So if you want something like that, it's available to you already in this template. So I'm actually gonna delete these out. I can. I used to be able to on Classic. Maybe I just need the overview. Yeah, and I'm gonna right click and delete this. And so maybe I just want one, like a sheet of paper even, right? So I could put my name on it. I'm gonna call this my physics graphic organizer. And then I can insert, just like in the Classic view, maybe I want to insert a story block. So you can insert one of these, and this will become your new frame. Okay, but I don't like any of those. Instead, I'm just going to go with the very basic shape here. I just want a circle, and so in the center of the circle, this could be my physics graphic organizer, and I have to insert text if I want there to be text. So I have to go back up. Text box appears. I'm going to type in physics, and I want to change the color because it's not going to contrast well on the white when I put it over top of it. So change the color to, I don't know, we'll do my favorite color, orange. And then you can change the size of your text box, and you can drag it over. And so here is my physics concept map, and maybe this window's too big, so I'm gonna shrink it down. Still a bit big. Let me zoom in by double clicking. I just double click there and it zoomed in for me. And so my first entry here is going to be physics. So I'm going to click up here and I'm going to go back to my overview. So this is like the center of my page. Notice that when I move one, it doesn't move the other. So you can do that by typing control and clicking everything that you, oh, actually that's not the case. Oh yes, so if you hold down control and click both of the items, and then you can release control, and then you'll be able to drag everything that you clicked around. Okay, and so let's say I want to start my first branch here coming off of my center. So I could put a line in. So I'm going to have coming out one big idea, and that color is blue. I think I'm going to change that color to orange. Okay, and then I could even right click here and hit copy, and then I can paste it. And so it tells me I got to use the shortcut, Control V to paste. Okay, so great. I pasted the circle. Probably want to connect that line a little bit more. And then let's say within this circle, I'm going to make this a new frame, right? So I'm going to have to insert a new topic, is what they're calling it now. So I could have just done the topic. That's a little bit different than classic. So let me see if I can figure out what I usually did. You used to be able to just insert my own frame. And so I'll do topic since that's what's new. And so I can resize this. And you'll notice right away after I put in the new topic, it instantly becomes part of the path work, right? So maybe my first topic is going to be motion. So I can make this bigger. Increase the size by just clicking this too. But then I'm going to have to change the box parameters. Okay, and then I can change the color. So maybe I want to go to blue now for these little main headings. Okay, and so I will go back. My first topic is motion. We're going to click present. So that's not exactly what I want, right? I kind of want to be able to view my topic here. So let me see if I can figure that out. That's a little bit different than what it's been like in the classic version. So back to overview. Kind of just wanted it. I just wanted it to be simple. I don't want to complicate this much. So I'm going to put in some text and we'll call it motion. Drag it over here. Need to change the color of that text. I want to make the text bigger. So yeah, I'm not a fan of some of these changes that have been made. Yeah, that's a little bit different. I'm not a fan of that. I used to be able to just make my own frames. So you could see, I'll go back to Prezi Classic and I'll show you an example there. Since there's a difference, I need to show you the difference. And so I could just make like this classification chart. It could be really a simple thing. I was kind of trying to do the same thing with my graphic organizer that I was creating. And so if I want to edit this in Classic, and I have Adobe Flash Player locked. On the icon next to Prezi. Oh gosh. Prezi.com. I don't see. Oh, here's the log. Okay. And I'm going to allow. Okay, so here's Prezi Classic. And you can see how it just moves seamlessly around to the different content. So if I wanted to just create a new frame, I would add a circle frame. And then within the frame, I could insert text. I think I can do just by, yep, clicking here. So if I wanted this to say motion, I could change this to motion. And then when I went back out, it would still kind of show that. And so they've kind of removed that, it seems like, from Next. So I could have connected things, I could have added off of motion, I could put another frame, and inside of this frame, I could put text like speed or distance. Could be my first frame. And then go back out to my whole page. And I could insert a line to link these two up, and then I could add another frame, and I could say, okay, well, another key thing of motion would be measuring how fast that change in motion occurs. And so I would probably call this next one speed. And then I can add another one. So we got distance, speed, and I could also have one for acceleration, which is the measurement of a change in speed. So where speed is the change in an object's motion, so how much distance it covers per time. Acceleration is that change in speed over time. And so I could keep coming back out, and I could insert lines to connect each of these. So if you kind of cancel out this other thing I've done, you could see how easy it would be for a student to do a graphic organizer assignment. And they can make branches off of distance and put the units, maybe meters per second, distance off, a line off from speed being, or sorry, distance would be meters, speed would be meters per second, acceleration would be meters per second, and how you could group all of these things, and you could put the formulas as another line. And so, yeah, let's do that. So I could maybe copy, or I'll just insert another circle. I'll draw a line, and then I'll insert another circle here. Sorry, it's a little cluttered. I'm doing this within one of my existing. Connect another line from speed. And so inside of this circle, I could put meters per second. And inside of this circle, I could put distance divided by time. And I could shrink that down and fit it inside the window. Right? And then if I wanted to, I could click also inside of that circle, I could zoom in. So I could zoom in by using my scrolling part of my mouse, or I can zoom in by finding the circle frame that was made earlier, which would be this one, and it would take me to the particular circle I want it to be in. And so I could put extra images in here if I wanted as well to add to my concept map. I could put a video in of a demonstration of measuring something's speed. Maybe I did something in the lab and have a recording of me doing it, and I want to add that to my concept map. That would be something neat to put in there. Okay, and so I'm actually going to delete these out because I don't want them as part of my thing. So I have to click edit path. And so by editing the path, I could rearrange the order the slides come in, and I can also delete them out of the path. So then they would still exist, but the presentation wouldn't naturally flow to it. Okay, so if I want to delete this object, I'm going to have to click on this and then press delete. I have to click on the frame and press delete. I have to click on the line and press delete. And so I'm sure there are very similar features in Prezi Next on how you would create a presentation like that. And so I just wanted to show you that because I was really wanting to show you a way to do. Oh, great. It looks like by leaving I didn't save. Nope, it is still saved there. I'm going to have to delete all that out. All right, I'll do that later though. So back to Prezi Next. Let's see what else we can learn about presentations quickly. I don't want to play it, I want to edit it. So this could be let me see if oh, I just figured it out. Great. So I just needed to click the right way to make this motion up here. So now on my general, I have exactly what I wanted. Fantastic. It only took me going all the way through Classic to figure that out. So motion, maybe I want to have a separate one on forces, right? And so I can draw another line. Kind of weird that it's just doing it effortlessly now. Maybe I do want to leave all my forces colored line the same way. That's not thick enough. I need to increase this. I don't know what just happened, but it moved my line completely back to the way that it was. Okay, so there's that. And so maybe within forces, I want to make a topic on Newton's laws. Got to double click to edit. Before when I was clicking, it was zooming me in and it made it disappear. I can have a section on Newton's laws. I can connect it with a line. And then likewise, I can make a circle for the first law, the second law, the third law. And then I can actually go inside of each of those and put a little image. So all of this is a little bit too close. So I'm holding down Control. And I'm trying to click everything because I want to move it all over here to give me a little bit more room. Okay, and so apparently I missed the arrow. Okay, so I want 1, 2, 3 topics and move them. I'll notice it linked them. And so the arrow you're seeing when I drag these around is the path, right? So that's the order in which the presentation is going to flow if I'm presenting. So if I'm presenting, it's going to take me to motion. So let's Oops, see, I did not want to do that. That's what I did the last time. I just need to get a little bit more familiar here to click just the right way. So we've got the first law, got the second law, and here I got the third law. And so what I could do then is, well, let me put my arrows in, my lines. So I got that line. Let's insert another line. And the other line disappeared, I think. Like, where did it go? These lines are being fishy now with me. See it there? Oh, it's so small that it's not showing up. So I want it to be thick, and I want it to be a better color. Okay, there we go. There's that line. I want this to be thick, and I want it to be blue. All right, let's see if I can copy. Yep, right click, and then paste. Oh, got to use Control V. And then I'm going to drag this. Oop, I looped it and grabbed the wrong place. I do kind of like how that loop looks, so I'm going to give them all a little bit of a loop or bend, not really a loop there. Okay, and so I could go inside of the first law by double clicking, and so the first law of motion, I could add some notes here. So Newton discusses inertia. So inertia, the tendency of an object to remain or to resist motion. Okay, and then I could give an example. But maybe even put a picture in here of an example. And so then I could click the zoom out, and then I could see the entire presentation with my concept map, and I could go in closer for those particular things. So if I want to present, go to presentation mode. And so I'd get the whole concept map, and then I've only programmed in one thing so far. So it's only going to show that. And I'm at the end here. I need to go to the beginning. So everything's going to be blank because I haven't really added anything to it. So if we start with motion, I could make my branches off of motion, go for forces, make my connections to Newton's laws of motion, and then I could take a look at each one. And so notice the third law was first. Maybe you want to present third law first, but you could easily change the sitemap. So I can just click and drag and move this up to first law, this up to second law. So if I'm within the first law too, I can just use my cursor to, well, in Classic I could at least zoom in some. I'm not seeing the ability to do that right now. I think I have to add a subtopic probably. Yeah, so this subtopic is going to take me inwards into that, and then I can create a subtopic within that takes me even further in, and I can add another subtopic, and it could take me even further into the presentation. So that's a little bit different than the Classic version. In the Classic version, you could just like from anywhere zoom and then make a frame. And so the way that you make frames in Next is different. You've got to add these topics, but still really fun thing for students to play around with and learn and to showcase what they know about the things you've been teaching them. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you enjoy using Prezi.